Keys to a win over Oklahoma tonight and why this game is massively important. Massive. You may not think so because it's Oklahoma, and at times they've stunk. But this is massive because at times Oklahoma has stunk. You can't lose tonight on the road. It's not going to be easy. So we're going to talk about that. But first, he's Zach. I'm Brad. It's Brand New Village Vice. Kaleb Harris, year 3. I think his third year is pivotal to the success of this Auburn football team. Zach, initial thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, obviously he was so good as a true freshman, took a step back at times last year. I mean, had a few blown ones. I mean, the Baylor game really sticks out where just like a massive blown coverage. And I just have a hard time like thinking that he regressed, but there's going to be more pressure on him. I think some teams are going to go after him more in the passing game. And I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong on this, but the corners that are outside of him this year, I don't think will be as good as the ones they had around him last year. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more pressure for Kaleb Harris, but he's capable of handling it. We saw that his freshman year.
Every player on the field is just 9% of the equation because you got 11 guys on the field. So to add the context or the disclaimer, yeah, a lot of things. It could have been.
What's the other 1%, Brad?
Effort.
The power of friendship.
Yeah, it's the team cohesiveness.
Got it.
That's the extra 1% and maybe the most important 1%.
That's important for sure.
Yeah. But, it could have been how teams were trying to attack. It could have been situational. It could have been all manner of things. But, he had more tackles last year than he did his freshman year. I don't have the PFF stuff in front of me, so I don't know if he played more snaps, fewer snaps, how he graded against a run of the pass.
My guess is he played more.
My guess is 2.
I'll tell you.
Because
we were talking about Kaleb Harris today.
Yeah. I'm trying every day to bring one football topic to the table, kind of to lead the show. And then, often we go off the rails and sometimes we come back and sometimes we don't. So
do you want to guess, talking about defensive players at Auburn last year, do you want to guess where he ranked as far as total snaps played?
3rd.
2nd.
Okay.
2nd, Xavier Atkins, maybe you heard of him, played 712 snaps. Kaleb Harris played 649.
So he was on the field the most other than Xavier Atkins.
Correct.
For the defense. Okay. Well, I mean, that tells he couldn't have he couldn't have regressed all that much because he was still on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we said that kind of in real time, too. Everybody was going after Kaleb Harris and how bad he was. And I'm like, well, like, DJ Durkin had other options to play, and he kept choosing to play Kaleb, which I think says something. Not that PFF grades are everything. They do provide some context. He had an overall defensive grade of 78 as a freshman. Last year, it dropped to a 67, which is just not good. And a lot of that had to do with his coverage grade, dropping from a 74.3 to a 62.9. And there's just a few games where he had brutal coverage grades. Baylor was 1, Oklahoma was 1, Arkansas was 1, Alabama was 1. So he's had a few really tough games in there.
Yeah.
But he could be much better.
So as you look at this year,
much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were other bodies in the safety room last year. How much do the new guys push him this year? How much is he pushed by just kind of the new culture and how much is he pushed by the fact that it's his 3rd year? It's kind of a big year for a football player as he transitions.
Well, and amidst all of that, he wanted to be here. We always kind of complain and amplify the guys who leave or praise the new guys. I don't know if, unless it's been Jeremiah Cobb, there hasn't been a whole lot of praising some of these guys who chose to stay. Kaleb Harris, in this era of transfer portal, Kaleb Harris is a perfect example of somebody who would typically leave. Was really good as a freshman, praised by the fan base as a freshman, got all these accolades. Then didn't have as good of a year. I don't think it's as bad as some people were pointing out, but it certainly wasn't as good. And then, that praise turns into criticism. And I think in today's age of college football, a lot of the time these players like that tend to leave.
Yeah.
And didn't. And I think that should be pointed out.
Yeah. No, that's well said, because there are half a dozen guys on the defense that did leave. And, you know,
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
All right. Will you pull up the snaps for the safeties from last year?
Yep.
All this off the cuff. That's why people love you, because you're able to do this off the cuff like this.
I'm ready.
All right. So the safeties last year, we know that Kaleb played the most, and it was 600 plus.
649. Yep.
649. All right. The rest of the guys.
Among safeties, Jaquez Robinson was second with 365.
Okay.
Eric Winters, 258. Fagans was 226. Champ Anthony, 196. They have Champ as a safety. I'm going to look at the corners that they have, too, to see if anybody's actually, like, not actually a corner. Yeah, like Sylvester Smith they have as a corner, but he's at 290.
Yep. Okay. All right. So
yeah, that's about it. Everything else looks right.
I'm interested to see, like, where does Champ Anthony play? Does he play safety? Does he play nickel? Does he play any corner? But Kaleb Harris should be the far and away leader in snaps again for this safety unit. What does the rest of it look like?
Yeah, do we see something similar happen that we saw at linebacker last year with Woodyard, where, like, you start to see Elijah Melendez kind of creep up on him in the rotation? There are so many of these, that core that we talk about so often, that sophomore class of Fagans and Winters, and can those guys creep into that? And then Sylvester Smith, I think, is going to be pretty good too.
Yeah. And
those are four guys when you look at Harris, Smith, Winters, and Fagans. And then they brought in Jack Luttrell from Arizona.
And Fred Gaskin.
His name is Fred Gaskin. So those are a lot of guys for, what, 3 spots when you talk about, the 2 safeties and nickel. And then Champ Anthony's in there too. So that's a loaded room. That's a loaded room. And part of me wonders, I think Auburn's fine at corner. I've been a little critical, but I think they're fine at corner. But I do wonder if because of that, they look at Champ Anthony at outside corner, which is what he did his first year when he was here.
You like the leadership of Champ Anthony. You like the leadership of Kaleb Harris. And we'll see about the other guys, because now your Eric Winters and your new boy and those guys, now it's not their first year in the program. Kaleb kind of was he was vocal his freshman year.
He was
he was one of the guys who wanted a culture change in the locker room, and like, I'm tired of losing, and we're gonna turn this thing from what it has been.
He played at Thompson, right?
Yeah, sure did.
Not used to losing.
Nope.
All
right. So Kaleb Harris, your thoughts on Auburn's safeties? Would love to get your thoughts on that as well as we get a little closer to spring practice. Very interested. There's so much, I think, that's fun to watch about spring practice in a few weeks, and the safety battle is one of them. Just who's playing how much. So, all right, Roback, Zach, Roback.
Yeah. Wow.
20% off. Barn20 is the promo code. Barn20. You guys are buying Roback, and now, we're coming up on warmer weather soon. You're going to be back out on the golf course. Quarter zips, polos. Get that summer wardrobe. Get a head start on your summer wardrobe. Roback.com. Promo code Barn20 to save 20% on everything. Keshan Hall, what kind of game does Keshan Hall need to have for Auburn to beat Oklahoma tonight?
Do you mind real quick? Do you mind?
Do I mind what?
I want to go somewhere else real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
Are you aware that you had an alter ego?
An alter ego?
Yeah, a separate personality, another persona in that noggin of yours.
Okay.
Bruh.
That's amazing. I got to tell you, the first thing that I'm drawn to, and I don't know what this says about me, the definition in that arm,
you look good.
The vascularity in that arm, I've never had that. I've never had the the bicep vein there.
If you leaned into your alter ego of brah,
Yeah. Broad. Brah. Bro. That's amazing.
a listener named Mike made that for us.
Yeah. Mike, you have too much time on your hands, but you do really good work.
That was great.
It's really good.
That was great.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
I thought we were going somewhere else with that based on a phone call I got last night. So, Keshan Hall.
What do you think was up with that phone call? If you had to guess, the latest I've ever called you.
Yeah.
Like 9:30.
Yeah.
I actually was surprised you picked up.
Yeah. Your first question was, are you in bed?
I mean, you sounded tired when you answered.
Well, okay. Yeah. It was,
which is fine. I was tired at 9:30. I get it.
Sure. Okay. Are we going to keep going or you just want to move on?
I don't care.
Okay. You asked me at 9:30 last night.
Yeah.
How often I wash my bed sheets.
That's right. Yep.
I can't wait to find out why you wanted to know that at 9:30 last night.
I just feel like my wife washes our bed sheets like every few days.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, that's normal. And I'm like, I don't think everybody does that. I just don't. And I got a lot of varying answers on that. Some people said, maybe like twice a month, got a few once a month. But I was shocked at how many I got once a week. So and I told her, I'm like, okay, I'm wrong on this. I just, I don't know. I thought she was very particular on just like having clean sheets all the time, which is great. I mean, nothing's better than long day and you climb into some clean sheets. Nothing's better than that at all. I'm not like against it.
I wanted to lean into why this became a discussion. We're like, babe, I got to tell you, I think our sheets are way too clean.
Well, like we're behind on laundry or whatever. And she's like, well, I needed to wash the sheets today. And I'm like, you washed them like Saturday.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I like clean sheets or whatever. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like laundry should take priority or whatever, if you only have time to do one load or whatever. But and so that's what the discussion was.
Yeah.
And a few people, when they answer the phone, I'm like, hey, you got a sec? Once again, it's like 9:30 last night. This was Kyle's thing. Well, Kyle's like, are you serious? And then he answered this question. And then he sent me a text after. He's like, are you in a fight? And I'm like, well, if I was, your answer certainly didn't help me, but that's fine. That's fine.
Is Kyle an every other day kind of guy?
It sounds like his wife washes the sheets pretty often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which does not surprise me of her.
Okay.
I don't know. She just seems,
my answer and like your wife's answer are going to be different. She is a married woman. I am the opposite of both. So like,
sure.
I'm not going to.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right. That's interesting. But yeah. I was really
not
curious.
Important though, but interesting.
No, not important, but interesting. And I tried to press further and I looked and the phone was gone. He hung up. My man, Zach, 20 seconds on the phone and he was on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was collecting data. I didn't have time to talk to you.
Right. Yes, that's exactly right. Okay. Keshan Hall, since the Texas game where he attempted 17 free throws. Okay. Since then, Auburn has played 6 games.
Okay.
One of those he did not play.
Right.
In the other games, he's attempted 5, 9, 5, 11, and 3 free throws.
Wow.
Why is that, do you think? Do you think he's changed something about the way he plays?
Do you have his 3-point attempts in there?
3-point attempts since that Texas game where he went 3 for 6. He's attempted 9, 6, 5, 7, and 6. More than he was attempting before the other. Yeah.
But not crazy more. Just a little bit more.
Right. He was, in SEC play, 4, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2, 5, 6. And then it went to 9 against Tennessee, then 6'5", 7'6".
Okay.
Yeah, more like by a couple.
Yeah.
So is he like, what is the cause and the effect? Is he not taking it to the goal as much? Or is he not getting the calls as much, so he's adjusting and shooting more from outside?
So this is anecdotal, but it does seem like he's pushing it less. It also seems like Tahad has taken over as primary scorer, or at least wanting to be primary scorer in some situations and actually being primary scorer in others. I also wonder where Keshan Hall is, like, mentally and emotionally right now.
Yeah.
Long season for everyone, sure, but he was so red hot, so electric, and then essentially gets benched for a game or suspended for a game, whatever verbiage you want to use. He doesn't play, and does that impact his ability to feel like he can lead, or lead by example, or whatever that might be? I don't know. This is a part of the season where everybody's exhausted, everybody's tired. Keshan's got he's been battling that hand or finger injury. Does that play into this at all? I think there's a lot of elements at play, Brad. But I don't think it's him not getting calls.
Yeah. He's the most important person for this team down the stretch. Whether fans want that or not, he's the most important part of this team coming down the stretch. Because if his approach and his attitude and all that are right, and it's the first time in his career he's ever had anything on the line the last week in February and going into March. He didn't at UNLV, didn't at George Mason, didn't at UCF. By this point in the season, UCF was done.
Yeah.
But it means something here, and it means something now. And he's got to be locked in. So that's why I say I think he's the most important guy for this team down the stretch. Because when he is right, he can score 20 and have 8 assists. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we've seen him do it. We've seen him do it in conference play.
For his look, he has worn some criticism for his body language after the Kentucky game. But his line in that game, and I know he's 3 of 15 shooting, and that's awful. That's terrible. It's the worst shooting game he's had, period. Full stop. Worst shooting game that he's had.
Low key.
But like literally.
Stop.
Field goal percentage is the lowest it's been in a game this year. But he had 9 rebounds.
Said full stop, so effortlessly.
Been
so smooth.
It's like it's like when you go to Spain for the summer abroad and you come back speaking fluent Spanish.
Yeah, like I was in it for like 6 weeks. I know. Yeah. So
Keshan had 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. He was 1 rebound and 3 assists away from a triple-double on a night where he shot 20% from the field.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's locked in, he can carry Auburn. Okay. Oklahoma tonight.
You
got to have this game, Zach.
Yeah. Not a huge win, but, man, it's massive if you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need a good start. I mean, I'm saying some stuff that's pretty elementary, but like the other team has scored first in 4 out of the last 5 games. They were able to punch back quickly against Kentucky Saturday so that it wasn't a big run to start the game. Oklahoma's been awful. They've also won at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they've got some sneaky wins, don't they?
Yeah. They're 3-11 in conference play. Their wins are Vanderbilt on the road, Georgia, and then they beat Ole Miss at home forever ago.
Okay.
They beat Oklahoma State. That's probably the best non-conference win. I mean, this is a team that's going to play on the first day of the SEC tournament. But you know what? 8 teams are going to play on the first day of the SEC tournament.
That's half.
Yeah.
That's half, Brad.
And that's why in the first year of a new bracket, like if you could get to the 8th spot in the standings, that'd be awesome. Because otherwise, 9 through 16 are playing on the first day. If you lose this game, you're playing on the first day, 100% guaranteed. And you're trying to stay out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you hope you're not still emotionally up from Saturday. I mean, massive win. It was huge for Steven, huge for these players, and obviously the way you won it was super exciting. Quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I mean, they played Saturday night, and then you know, 2 sleeps, and you got to travel to Norman.
Yeah.
So I do think this is sneaky. I think this is a sneaky trap game for Auburn. So I'm with you 100% on how important this game is. It could Steven get them ready in such a short amount of time. Not physically, not as far as the game plan. I think that'll be fine, but mentally and emotionally, this team's been so hit or miss, so inconsistent. Can they figure out a way to get a little bit of a streak going here to end the season?
Yep. For context, let's look at the standings in the league. So the 8th spot right now, there's actually a multi-team. Vanderbilt, Missouri, Texas, Kentucky are all 8 and 6. And that is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So there's a 4-way tie for 6th at 8 and 6. You're 2 games behind that right now. So if you win tonight, you're a game away, maybe 2 games out of 6th. But you're just trying to get in that top 8 so you avoid Wednesday.
Yeah, and I just call me out on this if this is wrong or maybe lazy. I don't think it's out of laziness.
Okay.
But I just don't care about the SEC tournament anymore. I just don't care about it. Like when it rolls around in a few weeks, I hope Auburn wins and goes on a run and is able to claim a championship. That'd be awesome. It doesn't really show to help or hurt you in the tournament as far as your seeding goes. And I just don't care. I just don't care about it.
I don't think it's lazy, and I think a lot of people agree with you. I like it, and it's an indicator of, like, if this team can go from where it is now in the standings and get to the Friday slate, like to stay out of the bottom 8.
Yeah.
It's just an indicator. It's not a so it's
so you care more about the seed than the actual like outcome?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad take.
I care about it as one of the next finish lines.
Yeah. You're what half of the SEC are you in?
Right.
Yeah.
If you could slot up into the 8 and then at that point, if you could get the 8 instead of the 9, because no longer is that just the same game. Like, no longer is that the same seed, just doesn't, just what jersey you wear. It's now I got to play on Wednesday if I'm the 9.
So here's my argument against that.
Okay.
Brad, let's say you are a 9 instead of an 8 and you play on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If Auburn's truly on the bubble and they need if they need a win in the SEC tournament to solidify their seeding, I don't subscribe to that with what I think is going to happen, but let's say that hypothetical plays out.
Yeah.
You'd rather be a 9 because then you get to, you're probably going to win on Wednesday. There was that stretch there under Bruce where it feels like we lost in the first round or the first game that we played in the SEC tournament for a few years in a row. And people were losing their minds over it. And I'm like, well, they're like playing in teams that have been playing. They're already like in the 3rd round because a lot of those times we had that double bye or whatever.
Yeah. And
it's like, well, other teams are getting wins in the SEC tournament because they're playing those winnable, easier games. So if you're trying to collect extra wins, I would argue it would help you to be a 9 seed if that's the situation we're actually in. I don't think that situation is going to happen.
Right.
But if it does, I think a 9 seed would actually be better than an 8 seed in the SEC tournament.
Maybe. I think you're getting, I don't know, like, this is not a harsh pushback, but does it do you that much good to beat the 16 seed? Like, to get a win over LSU?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think getting a win over LSU and then hypothetically losing the next day is much better than just losing the next day.
Than just losing to the 9 seed as the 8. So you like a higher probability win that maybe doesn't pay off as much over a better quality win, but a much lower probability of that win.
Yes, and I want to be clear. I don't think it will matter.
Right.
I think the NCAA tournament committee has shown time and time again that what you do in the SEC tournament does not matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter. But if it were to matter, I think that argument is there.
I saw one particular bracket, I'm trying to find it now, that like if the tournament started today, here's what it would look like. And
for the SEC?
Yeah, for the SEC tournament.
Can't believe we talk about the SEC tournament this much. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
But the path, yeah, here's what it was. Okay. So if the tournament started today, Auburn in the first round would play South Carolina. Auburn would be the 11, and they play South Carolina on Wednesday.
Okay.
Then they get Missouri on Thursday.
Love that.
Then they get Arkansas on Friday.
Interesting.
Then they would potentially, if the seedings all worked out, get Alabama Saturday and then Florida Sunday. I said, give me that path today. Now, I'd rather play the rest of the season and get a higher seed than 11, but I don't mind that path.
Yeah, I mean, you beat South Carolina, then I think Mizzou's a toss-up, truly.
Yeah.
Who was after Arkansas?
Arkansas.
No clue. I have no clue how that game would turn out. Both teams waxed the other. So,
yeah.
Would love to kind of get a, rubber match for that one.
Yeah. And then you'd have Alabama at the end, and who knows? Who knows? Right. And then whatever after that, it's all gravy. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on the SEC tournament that's still 3 weeks away.
Yeah, can't believe we went there. I can't believe we went there. Feel dirty. Yeah. Got to go wash my sheets again.
I was going to say, if you feel dirty, at least you can go to bed on clean sheets.
All right. Does that do it for today's show?
I think it does, yes. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. Please subscribe. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.